good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from wherever you may be joining us from. Welcome to Art Shouts, the Art and Wellbeing podcast segment with yours truly, Carolyn, Renée, Executive Director here at the Artsxchange. Our podcast is produced at the Artsxchange in East Point, Georgia, and is part of our artist focus series. So we focus on artists who are using their art for art and healing. And specifically, this program is centering the voices of creative artists who intentionally use art to bring healing to others. And today we are honored to be joined by Ahmane. I say it like that because it's so beautiful.
Yes.
And she's amazing. And I am so thrilled. The resume, or the bio, I should say, reads like a who's who of art and culture. And she's got healing modalities. She's got creative skills that she brings to the community. She ignites her leadership and training experiences in a number of ways. And what I like to do is ask my guests how you want to be known today, because I can read this beautiful resume, but I would love for you to share with the Artsxchange community and the rest of the world who are joining us today about money.
Yeah, beautiful, Carolyn. Thank you so much. What an honor to be here. I'm so excited. And how do I want to be known today? I want to be rooted in my people. I am the daughter of Dolores Glover, the granddaughter of Izetta Glover and Nathaniel Glover. I am cousin. I am student of life. I am all of those things. So in my most expansive form, I am the relationships that are in my bones. So that's how I would like to be referred to. So Ahmane is that.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I was so thrilled to see that you're a Reiki healer, because I share that in common with you, and you help people through their trauma using your tools, and right now on the planet, there's so much trauma. And we as Black, Indigenous, and people of color, have become accustomed to it. And it's so unfortunate, right? And then now you add this whole nother layer. But I think the whole nother layer, and I'm speaking of the global pandemic, right? And I think our skills are needed more than ever. And I want you to share with us about, your gifts and how you're using them on the planet right now, to help bring healing to all people, but specifically Black, Indigenous, and people of color.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, I'm moving with and moving through clearing out the delusion and confusion that is all around me, infiltrating every atom of my being in this world, right? So my practice is about how do I be honest with myself? When there's so many filters around what people say is going on, what people want me to believe is going on, what people want me to move forward as an agenda, what is true within my beingness. So my practice is all about clearing out the clutter so I can hear the truth and operate from an honest place and really clear out my own delusion and confusion around what's going on based off of fear and the fear narratives that are continuously being shown to us, told to us. So what that looks like is giving myself space and time to deeply question everything that I see, giving myself space and time. I have a deep Vajrasattva meditation practice that is all about releasing fear. And so allowing myself to release the fear from my filter so I can really see what's going on. And the role of the artist is to speak from that place, right? And so there are counter narratives that people can pull and draw on and find what's true for them. And so that's the first thing, that Vajrasattva meditation practice that allows me to get up under the fear, the confusion, and the clutter in my mind and being.
AhShay, thank you so much for sharing that. And, speaking of the fear and the clutter and, the filters, I think about purpose, right? Because so much of an individual's purpose comes from their heart. And it also is informed by their environment. A lot of
Yes.
times. They're teachers,
Yes.
they're mentors. Some people are lucky enough to be born and they got their purpose and they're running with their purpose. And then there are people who still haven't figured it out. And so I
Yeah.
would like for you to speak to us, about your purpose,
Yeah.
how you have come to your purpose, and any
Yeah.
pearls of wisdom you want to share with our young people and elders, whoever may be listening, about finding their way to their purpose. So, really speaking to us about your purpose, and then any pearls you want to share about people finding their purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unfolding. And so I think the clearest form of me finding my purpose is knowing that it's an evolution, and that what was true one day may deepen another day, may no longer be true, and just being willing to move with the cycle of change, because that's just a part of life. And it can come hard and fast, as we can see and feel right now. And it can knock us off of places of groundedness, or we may not already be grounded and continue to move through this stuff. And so for me, it's all about, again, what is true for me, and not only thinking about myself, but extending that out into the community and thinking about how we can grow together. Now, that sounds all beautiful and pie in the sky, but what does that look like? The truth is, you cannot serve a community you do not understand. And so my place of understanding must be, who am I? What am I coming in with? What biases are within me? What am I clearing out again? What am I holding as true? And how does that interact with the reflections of me all around me? And so the wisdom would be is that we are people that move with the cycle of the earth. We are people that moves with the cycles of change, and we innovate. We drink out of glass jars because that's what we have. And that's recycling today, And so taking back our narratives and understanding that we got it. It's in our bones. So let's, again, release what tells us that we don't have it. We ain't it. We're not the newest, hottest stuff. We don't have the drip or the clothes or whatever it may look like, and know that we are that thing. And it is so seen in art and culture and movement spaces all around, because we are creators and innovators. And so what I have to say is not something new. It's been something that's been said every day in different types of ways. And even if it's not said directly, it's said in how you talk, how you walk, how you stand. And there's just a lot of filters that get in the way of the truth of the beingness. So just remembering that purpose can change and it evolves. We are an evolved people, and we are continue to change and be intuitive and be innovative and continue to move and design new things. Look at the pandemic. Look at all the ways that people are shifting in online spaces, are creating in places where there's immense suffering, but they're creating in places to give us humor, to give us art, to look at things that are extremely painful. People are doing these things just with the tools in their hands and in their homes. So I would say reach deep down and continue to do that thing. If there's something in you where you want to explore and you want to use the resources around you to do that, do that. But I believe that I don't even need to say that, because I see it happening in such dynamic ways every day, and I'm just in awe of it.
Give thanks. I love in your bio, it says, when the world says give up, the rhythm of her life says create change.
Mm.
And, that really spoke to me. And all the things that you've done, you've worked with the Urban Bush Women Summer Leadership Institute. You've been trained with the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond, undoing racism work, and really would love to hear you, give your perspective on the race narrative right now, because this is not new. Again, all
Yeah.
these things, as you just got through saying, these are not new things for us, right?
Yeah.
This has been part of our reality for so long. And so, working in a racial justice framework, I would
Yeah.
love to hear what kind of work you're engaged in, and just your take on what's happening, like what's really going on, where this work of undoing racism or uprooting racism and racial equity and transformation has got so many names now, and people who have been on the front lines of doing this work are
Yeah.
really being called to the front lines. And, what does it look like for you in terms of the anti-racism work?
Yeah, I love that question. So it looks like history versus reality, right? And I say versus because there's so many spaces in between where our historical narratives are rewritten, are whitewashed. That's racism. When there's dominant white norms that are operating in the world that are telling us what to believe and what should be true. And we know that it's not true. And so we're continuously moving in these circles where you have the dominant white narrative and then you have your narrative, your authentic story around what you know to be true. Take, for instance, the historical reference of Emmett Till. It took years for white America to unequivocally say that that was murder. When it first happened and we knew that it was murder in our bones, we knew that that was true. There was so many narratives around that this was not murder of Emmett Till. Same today when we're talking about all these murders that are going on all around us. And they say, oh, well, it's not really racism, or, oh, it's not murder, or, oh, I didn't murder them by entering their house while they were sleeping. I didn't murder them by putting my knee on their neck. I didn't murder them in these ways. Getting up under the understanding that there's history, and then there's reality, and then there's the authentic narrative of the community and the people. And for years and years and centuries and generations, we are told one thing and we know the real context, and we've been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. Racism is systematic. Racism is generational. Racism is a made-up construct that we are constantly living in and through in ways that is dehumanizing for us and the dominant white folks that may be perpetuating it.
Yes. And so how do you see your work as an artist and your healing work coming into play in helping to move people and help people move along the spectrum through where we are right now? And one of the things I was thinking about with this question, I think about Brian Stevenson's work with the Equal Justice Initiative. I went down there last year to Montgomery, to the museum and the lynching memorial.
Yes.
And to see all the columns that are made of iron with the names, just hundreds and hundreds of names. And then on the walls of people who have been lynched. And, I commend the work that he's doing of taking communities to the places where these lynchings have taken place, collecting the soil, putting the name, humanizing the people, right?
Yeah.
Who have, died unjustly. And so just kind of curious about that trauma that lives in our bodies. How do we, release, how do you help the community with I know you're spoken word artist and you're a Reiki master and you do other healing modalities. So how are you bringing those things together to help communities, make it through this time?
Yeah. One of an example of the work and what it looks like right now is getting up under the different forms of grief. And what it means to grieve, what it means to wail, what it means to lament and let those things out. Often trauma responses are re-triggered and we don't have a place to let it out, let it up, let it move out of our body so we can have spaciousness to experience something else. And so right now, a lot of my work is around movement and holding those spaces for grief, for wailing, for lamenting, to allow that to come up and out. And not only that, for us to move that energy and transform that energy so we can move to the other side of it and continue to do that work. And so it looks like a grief series where it's not structured, where we're not looking at a format of we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. What do you need? And if you don't know what you need, often I may not know what I need when I'm in the abyss, when I'm up under a thing. If you don't know what you need, let's use our modalities that we know that can bring things up to the surface. Let's move that thing. Let's tap. Let's breathe. Often the trauma response of breath is so prevalent, right? And I know you know this, right? It takes a lot for me to feel comfortable, feel safe within myself to breathe a deep breath. We often walk around breathing shallowly. Why? Because we are in fight or flight response. We are in a hypersensitive alertness around am I safe? Am I protected in this world? And so breath work is so important. Often a lot of the community members I work with and clients I work with, it's a challenge to breathe and or it hurts. So when I'm breathing into my diaphragm, there's pain there, or I'm uncomfortable, or I'm looking to find something else, because all the stuff rushes in when I get quiet, when I get silent, and I allow myself to feel out the places that I may have numbed out, so I can push through and continue to find a way to survive. The survival response too, getting up under that thing, that's a trauma response, right? Yeah. And so feeling like I need to push forward and survive. I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to survive. I understand it. It's a trauma response I have. And so making space to really get up under that using art, I do a free draw. Because again, there's some places that words can't get up under. Like even as a spoken word artist, I sometimes cannot have a word. So I'm just free drawing with community members and myself to let things out, so we can get up under all of this muck and stuff that we have in our system, so we can get to the transformative part of it. So creating spaces, co-creating spaces in community where we can together look at, what do you need? Do you need to move? Do you need to just lay here and rest? Most of all, it's rest. There's this beautiful sister who's the Nat Bishop, and it's all about the rest ministries. Have you heard of her?
I think I've heard about her.
Yeah. We need rest. We're exhausted emotionally, spiritually, physically. We're exhausted. And so someone's asking me what I need when I'm thinking about myself. I may not know in a moment, or I may be too exhausted to put it into words or understanding. So giving spaciousness to say that I can take rest. Rest is revolutionary, and it's my birthright. I should be able to rest. I must take rest, not should. I will rest. And out of that rest, I can learn a deeper knowing of myself and know where to go from there.
Give thanks. Yes to rest. Yes to napping. And as you were speaking, I have to honestly say what was coming up for me was my grandmother, because I can remember grandma never rested. She would get up early in the morning. She ran the mom and pop store in Jackson, Mississippi. 1-2 blocks from her home, and she would just go there and serve the people all throughout the week, do missionary on Wednesday and go to church on Sunday, and then start off. I never saw her cry.
Yeah.
And so what you're speaking to is so important for us to really tap into the emotional body and the trauma body and really be able to move those things out. So we're grateful for the work that you're doing. I want to share this quote by Robert Redford that I pulled from the Americans for the Arts site, but it really spoke to me, and I want to see how it speaks to you. It says, the country is so wounded, bleeding, and hurt right now. The country needs to be healed. It's not going to be healed from the top politically. How are we going to heal? Art is the healing force. So how do you see all that you bring, and directing that energy toward the greatest need of this moment? I think you've covered a lot of that, but if you want to just kind of reflect on that quote a little bit, we see the things that are going on, and I don't know, sometimes it seems a little challenging when us running an arts organization, even when we say art to people, a lot of people's mind automatically goes to easel, right?
Yeah.
But this idea that art is the healing force, how does that speak to you?
It's everything, Carolyn. Like, expanding, right? Expanding the narrative, expanding the understanding is what's needed, right? Like, so when you give the example of people thinking about art being an easel and, maybe being some stencils or the visual art aspect of it, understanding that art is life. It's the way you move. It's the way you breathe. It's the way you look. It's the way you dress. It's all of those things together, creating a unique syncopation of beautiful, unique you, right? And so allowing us to go in a community with that understanding, releasing opening up accessibility, right? And by accessibility, I mean who is present in the space, who breaking down the language to who can relate to what you're even talking about, breaking down the theories of change to what do I need in this moment right now, step by step, how can I make this digestible? And so I believe that we come from a people that know that art is life and art is important. It's just expanding the definition and the vocabulary of what that could be and releasing other people's definitions and allowing the community to say, yo, this is art. Yeah, that is true. The way I talk, the way I speak. And no, that's not true for me, but this is art. Asking people and really, again, having a continuous narrative around what it is and what it means to you. And so that's the first step. So in order to heal any wound, any trauma, we must create a narrative that is true for me and that is authentic to me. And I can release what other people are telling me what it is. And so allowing art into the space does just that. When nothing else can speak to a thing, or when I can't see past what's in front of me, and I think that that's the only possibility, there goes our friend art that allows us to see beyond what we're seeing and even admit, I don't know what I'm seeing, but maybe it could be this, maybe it could be that, maybe it could be that. And that opens up curiosity. That's what I love about art. It allows me to be curious in a world that says no, in a world that says not enough, in a world that says, look this way, it's only black and white, only think this way. Art is an expansive container that says anything is possible in a world that wants me to believe I am limited.
Good, thanks to that. So what you're speaking to is coming up for me is Kuji Chakalia, self-determination.
Yes.
And, how important it is to be self-determined,
Yeah.
We really appreciate that. I was curious if you would share some of your spoken word art with us.
Yeah.
We would love to hear, whatever you'd like to share.
Oh, word. Yeah. You know what? It's coming out as like words that I play around with. Okay. So right now I'm playing around with this. It'll start as like 3 words. Mm-hmm. It's on the tip of my tongue. So that's what I'm playing around with right now. Like it came to me in meditation the other day, like it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll start off like that. And so I'll start to play around with, okay, it's on the tip of my tongue. What is it? Like get it curious. And so I'll play with the words like it's on the tip of my tongue. 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 Tip my tongue, tip my tongue. So I've been playing around with stuff in that way and just seeing where it leads me. A lot of repetition. So I'm playing with tip of my tongue, and then I have like little short stuff that I wrote, and as an artist I stay prepared. Yes. So let me pull but tip of my tongue is so curious to me because as I think about this clearing and this purification that we've been moving through as a world, and I've been moving through within myself and in community, what is coming up? It's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't know what it is. When I think about what's going on with COVID, and I think about all the communities that are impacted, and Black and Brown communities are impacted at the highest levels, right? Mm-hmm. Just thinking about what is right behind, what's around the corner of this, what is waiting to be birthed, what is being birthed right now through this experience. So tip of my tongue, I'm excited to see where that leads. Yeah, but beautiful. All right. So I was writing the other day, again, moving through my own grief process of just this living thing, right? And I've been healing on a deep level shame. And the levels of shame and the different ways that it comes up, the ways that I have hidden shame, the ways that hiding shame impacts my authenticity, the way that hiding shame or shame has robbed my knowledge of who I truly am and where I come from. So that's why I wanted to root myself in that today and continue to remind myself of that and the layers there, right? And the understanding that bondage of any kind, any form is abuse. So what are the ways that I feel bonded within myself, and how can I use art to explore that and expand within myself so I can then co-create expanded spaces? So just a little background. Yeah. So let me see which piece is jumping out at me to share. All right. Let's do. All right, let's do this piece. Okay. It doesn't have a name. It's still revealing itself to me. bottled up, fizzing down the sides. I be the glass, you be fluid. Why we do this ish, making run-on sentences when there should be a defined stop. I be feeling like giving up, tired of thrashing about against thin air. What's fair? Trauma colliding with trauma, blaming, shaming, needing compassion, rationing out forgiveness, looking away, sighing deeply. What is this needing about? Hush your mouth. Can't take the repetition of words with good intentions, bleeding fast now. What is the balm that can stitch up the ever-growing distaste, staining my tongue with each inhalation? Yeah.
Okay. My producers over there snapping too. Let's snap that up with the community as well. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a baby. So I trust y'all.
We will take care of your baby. And I invite you listening. We're going to take care of that baby and send some positive healing energy so that it continue to expand. Thank you for being vulnerable and taking us there. I call this a speed round because I'd like to just ask these questions and then you just respond whatever comes to your heart. What personal healing modality is your go-to when you face challenges?
Music.
What's your current passion project?
Grief circles.
Okay, thanks. What gift are you taking from the pandemic?
Imagination.
Thanks. And how can our listeners, and if we decide to do this visual thing, viewers, stay connected to you?
Yeah. On IG, Instagram is Fierce Ahmane. On Facebook is Ahmane Glover, my regular spelling of my name. And on my website, AhShay.me, AhShay.me. Yeah, those are the best ways.
Well, give thanks. Ahmane. So appreciate to love you being with us today. And I just want to go on record inviting you to Atlanta, Georgia, to the Artsxchange as soon as we reopen these doors and grace our community, because that's where we are. We're about to take it to the streets for real. I'm grateful, to our board, our new staff, and we have a jewel here. And so we want to share it and we want to bring you here to meet the community in person. So I hope you will join us. We're working on a big festival for September of 2021 outdoors, Justice Palooza, the brainchild of Alice Lovelace, our president, who you used to work for, I understand.
Yes.
So we will be inviting you. So once we know the dates, I will keep you posted. Yeah, so I just want to, honor you for the work that you're doing in the world. I want to thank you for being with us today. It has just been such a tremendous joy and a gift. And I don't know if there are any final words you want to leave, but I want to open that up to you if there's anything on your heart that you want to leave with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanking you. Thanks. And gratitude for you, Carolyn, and the work that you're doing. Thanking Mama Alice. Again, when I talk about people in my bones and people that I stand with and stand because she is one of them. So I give thanks to her and give thanks to everybody that has come before now. I am a living ancestor. And so just for us to continue to live into that.
Give thanks. We want to just thank you again for being with us, and we'll send you a clip of this podcast so you can share with your audiences as well.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And to the rest of our audience, I want to say during COVID-19, the Artsxchange will be offering virtual programs, and you can catch us at artsxchange.org or hashtag Artsxchange ATL. So we look forward to you joining us for this podcast and other virtual programs. So thank you so much again.
Thank you.
AhShay.